Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the third innings. My name is Maxwell Charlesworth, and I'm here alongside my good friend, as always, Prasuk Jain. We're here to give you the rundown of the latest of today's action in the IPL 2022 Tata Mega Auction, which completed up today. So, Prasuk, I'm going to give you the quick rundown of the first team, the newly installed franchise, Gujarat Titans. Give a rundown of what we think their main playing 11 is going to look like, and you'll give me your response to that, okay?
Yeah.
So for the Gujarat Titans, you've got Jason Roy and Shubman Gill opening, Manohar at 3, Shankar, Pandya, Hardik, Wade at 6, Rashid Khan at 7, Tawatia, Ferguson, Shami, and Giant Yadav at 11. What do you make up of that main playing 11, Prasad?
I think number 3 and 4 have question marks.
Mm-hmm.
If they lose an early wicket, it's going to be too much pressure on them. And probably they are lacking a good bowler as well.
Mm-hmm.
They probably going to struggle with getting 20 overs in. So they can have a look there and fix that as well. So a fifth bowler and a good sort of all-rounder as well.
I agree. That 3 and 4 spot is crucial in T20s, and it's a lot of uncapped experience there.
Yeah.
KKR, what do you think for them, Prasad?
I have Hales and Venkatesh Iyer opening with Nitish Rana at 3, and then you have Shreyas Iyer, Rahane, Reras, Narayan at 7, who could play as a floater, and then you have Cummins, Shivam Mavi, Umesh Yadav, and Varun Chakravarti to fill in the lower order.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Definitely. I think it's a good team, a really good team. It's very similar to last year. That,
Yep.
of course, isn't a bad thing. I think another question would be Rahane at 5, but I do agree that Narayan will be used as a floater. We saw him used as a floater last year at 1, at 4, at 7, so I think that's very likely. But I think they look really complete this year.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. And they made it to the finals last year.
Yeah.
So why not? And another finalist from last year,
Mm-hmm.
CSK. What do you think?
Yeah, CSK. They have Gaikwad up at the top with Uttapa, Devon Conway at 3, Moeen Ali at 4, Ambati Rayudu, MS Dhoni, Jadeja at 7, Bravo, Shivam Dube, Jordan, and Chahar. What do you think of that?
Yeah, they were in the finals last year, so
Mm-hmm.
not a bad thing to have the same team, and they have a lot of experience
Mm-hmm.
and informed players, and I think they are very strong right now on paper, and each and every player looks very strong.
Definitely, definitely. You also have a lot of players that can come in for the current players that are there if they're not performing. I think Dwayne Pretorius at 50 lakhs was a good buy, and he's
Yeah,
someone who can come in for the likes of Dwayne Bravo if he's not performing up to the task.
true.
On to your favorite team of the IPL as opposed to Gujarat. For me, the Delhi Capitals, what do you make up of their 2022 squad?
I have Prithvi Shaw and David Warner opening,
Mm-hmm.
and Pant at 3 as last year. Then I have Mitchell Marsh, Lalit Yadav in the middle order, and then I have Akshar Patel, Shardul Thakur in the all-rounding positions. And then I have Kuldeep Yadav, Anrik Nokia, Ngidi, and Khalil Ahmed to fill in for the bowlers.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think there's some questions there of whether you would play Ngidi or Sakaria.
Mhm.
I think the middle order is perhaps maybe a touch of a concern with Lalit Yadav at 5, and with Pant and Marsh ahead of him, especially maybe Marsh against spin. I know he's gotten better in recent times, but still, I think that could be an issue. You could see yourself in a scenario where you've lost a couple quick wickets, and then all
Yeah,
of a sudden you're into Shardul Thakur and Akshar Patel to dig you out of a hole, which they can do. Um,
but a
so
lot to do.
yeah, Punjab Kings, Suki. Punjab Kings, they're going to come out with Shikhar Dhawan, who's going to be captaining. Mayank Agarwal is going to open with him. Johnny Bairstow, we reckon, at 3. Another Englishman at 4 in Liam Livingston. Shah Rukh Khan, Harpreet Brar, Odin Smith at 7. Kagiso Rabada at 8. Sandeep Sharma, Arshdeep, and Chahar rounding off the team. What do you reckon of that?
I think it's a gun team. I think it's the strongest so far on paper. And they are definitely looking like making the playoffs. They could definitely challenge other strong teams for the title. The weakest player is Harpreet Brar, probably on
Hmm.
paper, who is still very valuable last year for Punjab. And I think other teams have to be wary of this team.
Definitely. Definitely. We also have the Mumbai Indians on the roster,
Yeah.
as always, 5 times champions, coming out with another strong outfit, Suki, this year. Why don't you take us through them as well?
I have Ishikishi and Rohit Sharma opening the batting.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have an uncapped player, Tilak Verma at 3. Surya Kumar Yadav at 4. Fabian Allen, Tim David, and Pollard in the middle order. And then Sams, Unatkat, Bumrah, and Murugan Ashwin to fill in for the bowlers.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think this team is really strong in the 4 to 8 batting positions. And then you got Ishikishi up top, who's a proven IPL player, recently trying to make that jump to the national side. I think the only question is who's going to be at 3. Like you said, an uncapped batsman maybe in Tilak Farma. But there's also not many spinners in their squad and also in their main 11 to help Mugadan Ashwin, other than really Fabian Allen. But I think Tim David was a really good get for them as well.
Absolutely. They have some things to do this year
Mm.
before Jofra Archer comes in.
Yeah, definitely.
Then let's have a look at Rajasthan Royals. Why don't you take us through them?
Sure, of course. Up top, they've got Jaiswal and Padakal, the 2 young openers. Samson at 3. Rasi Thunder Dusun, the big South African, at 4. Shimron Hetmaya at 5. Butler at 6, making a very international middle order. Rian Parag at 7. Ravi Ashwin at 8. Trent Bolt at 9. Yuzurendra Chahal at 10. And Prasi Krishna at 11.
Um, I think the bowlers they have so far, they are very experienced, but we are missing the 5th bowler, and they have to get in those 4 overs from somewhere. And at the top, I think it's a little fragile because if you lose an early wicket in the power play, suddenly the pressure comes on the middle order. The middle order does look strong, but as compared to other teams' opening pairs, I think this is the most inexperienced and the most fragile. That's something they will have to look into.
Definitely, definitely. Well, there's been a lot of hurt for RCB fans over the years, and I think a lot of them were thinking or praying that maybe that the IPL Mega Auction comes around sooner so they can get a big flush list out of their players. Many might be disappointed in what happened. Why don't you take us through the RCB list that they are putting out on the field this year?
Well, I have Kohli and Faf opening the battle. Then I have Rawat and Maxwell. Then Dinesh Karthik, Hasaranga, Harshal Patel at 7, Shabaz Ahmed. Then it's a question mark with Siddharth Kaul, but then we have Siraj and Hazelwood definitely making it.
Yeah. I think the only questions around RCB are they're missing proven local batting talent. And I say only question marks. Those are some big question marks that you
Yep.
need filled out in any successful IPL team. Kohli and Faf at the top. If it's the Kohli of old, and maybe. And Faf is obviously in good form and performed well last year. But then, yeah, like you said, a couple quick wickets and they could be in real trouble, especially with Hasaranga. Probably they paid big bucks for him, but he's going to have to make that money now. Probably batting in the upper middle, not lower middle order, but still a more important batting position. Then we have Warner's old team. He's off to your team this year. Delhi, long-time SRH batsman until, well, very abruptly last
Yep.
season. Why don't you take us through who they're going to come out with this year, the Sunrisers Hyderabad?
Well, I have Aiden Markram and Tripathi opening the batting,
Mhm.
and then Williamson, Nicholas Puran, Abdul Samad at 5, Washington Sundar at 6, then either Marco Janssen or Sean Abbott, and then Bhuvi, Karthik Tyagi, and then Umran Malik and Natarajan to fill in for the bowlers.
Mhm.
What do you think?
I think really besides Washing Machine Sundance, they are missing that second spinner who's really going to support him out there in that situation. But other than that, I think they've got a decent batting lineup. I think really they're going to need Markham to fire. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of pressure on Williamson, and in a similar respect to Puran.
As
If
always.
yeah, if Abdul Samad can continue what he did last year and get better, even then I think they could be in good steads. But that's a lot of ifs for a successful season, really.
True.
We got one final team, the Lucknow Super Giants, the second newest team in the IPL for the 2022 Tata IPL. So the Lucknow Super Giants, they're going to rock out this year with De Kock. With the Lucknow Super Giants, they're going to come out with the Cock and KL Rahul up the top, Manish Pandey at 3, Marcus Stoinis at 4, Deepak Huda 5, Krunal Pandya, Jason Holder, Shabaz Nadeem at 8, Abesh Khan at 9, Wood and Ravi Bishnoi at 11. What do you think of their situation?
Although the opening pair is a gun pair, I think the batting in general looks quite weak.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as soon as they lose an early wicket, it's going to be very difficult to for Stoinis and Manish Pandey to rebuild from there.
Yeah,
They have, and that's happening because they have too many all rounders. So too many all rounders means they have to they have to sacrifice somewhere.
yeah,
And I think it's the batting that is getting sacrificed. Bowling
yeah,
wise, I think they're looking quite complete, but the batting they need a bit of experience in the middle order.
yeah. I agree. Okay, so those were the teams that we think the franchises are going to rock out with at the first game of the season. On to now who we think the biggest winners were of this year's IPL. I will start off with my first one or two. My first two. I've got Liam Livingston as one of my biggest winners. He went for 11.5 crore to the Punjab Kings. That's 1.5 million US dollars. And it's more, I don't think he was overpaid, but I think he paid what he's deserved for his talents and his ability. And that's why I think he wasn't cheated. He didn't get an extortionate amount. And
Hmm.
that's what makes me think he's a winner. On the other hand, I think, uh, yeah, I think, like we said earlier, the Punjab Kings were another winner of the IPL in a franchise sense. I think they did the most damage to the
Mhm.
opposition.
Yeah,
What about
yeah,
you?
true. I think we had a look in terms of players, but we
Mm-hmm.
can also have a look in terms of the franchises.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gujarat Titan would consider themselves a winner, obviously apart from Punjab. They do have a very hard hitting lower order with good quality all rounders in there, and I think that we have seen in T20 how that makes a difference to the game,
Yeah,
having that low order, hard hitting batsman. So even if you lose early wickets, you can still rely on them,
yeah,
and it's just a 20 over game, so you can always come back in the game. And similar to that, it's Mumbai. We spoke about a couple of weaknesses,
mm-hmm.
but again, they're looking for a very solid year ahead. So yeah, I mean, we have had a lot of winners
Mm-hmm.
in this year's start IPL, but we did have a couple of, or at least more, losers as well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about who they were?
Well, I think a big loser this year was Kuldeep Yadav going for, well, of course not a loser in that sense, but I think he didn't
Mhm.
go for his potential. Kuldeep Yadav for 260,000 US dollars or 2 crore in rupees to the Delhi Capitals. I think for a bowler with that much international and IPL experience, he's always going to be an effective spinner. I think at least in IPL conditions, I think he was severely underpaid for. What about you? Who do you think got that treatment?
I think Mohammad Nabi and Ajinkya Rahane both went for 1 crore
Mm-hmm.
rupees to KKR. I think KKR really did well in that execution. But I think for as far as the players are concerned, I think they deserve more. They both are experienced campaigners, and they both have a lot of skills they can provide from that dimension. It's not just about how fast you're scoring, but it's also about that experience which you bring in the team.
Mm.
And I think in that sense, they would consider themselves a bit unlucky or harsh.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously there was also some surprises this year in the IPL. What price tag surprised you?
I would say Ishi Kishi. Not that he didn't deserve it, but I think Mumbai made up their minds that they're going to buy Ishi Kishi no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe the other teams took a bit of advantage, or maybe the other teams wanted Ishi Kishi anyways.
Mm.
So the bidding just went a little too high, but it's going to be, and as we said yesterday as well in our first day's analysis, that it can put a little bit of pressure on
Yeah,
Ishikishi having such a big price tag.
yeah,
And that for me was a surprise, having being such a young player who was not even retained by Mumbai last year,
yeah,
going
yeah,
for such a big price.
yeah. For
Well,
me,
who
I
was
think,
the? Yeah, sorry.
yeah, for me, I think it was Tim David. I think him going for 1 million. I think he's just a bit too unproven for that one, that big of a price tag. Last year he was playing in for Quick Haag in the Netherlands before going on and playing some county in Pakistan Super League. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but I think he's just a bit too unproven for that $1 million price tag. Of course, there's also some steals this year. Some people who went well under the budget that we think they were supposed to. Well, not so much that, but the team's got good bang for their buck, really. Who
Yeah.
was some of those?
I think for me it would be Riley Meredith, especially after going for big bucks last year. He was one of the hottest property last year,
Mm,
bought by was it Punjab or Mumbai? I don't remember well, but
mhm.
he went for big bucks last year,
Yeah.
and obviously the price tag comes down because he didn't make a mark
Hmm.
last year. But he's an upcoming bowler for Australia, and he bowls quick, really
Yeah.
quick, and to have him for such a for have him at the base price, I think Mumbai really hit the target there.
Mm,
And in a situation where they needed a fast bowler, I think they got him.
yeah.
Who
I,
was do you think?
for me, it was Josh Hazelwood only going for 1 million to RCB.
Yeah,
He's just been so ridiculously economical in recent times. Last year, he had an economy rate in international T20s of 6.8 after bowling over 50 overs. And this year he's improving on that. So to only go from 1 million to RCB, I think that's a steal. Devon Conway as well, only going for 130,000 US dollars, 1 crore to CSK. I think that is also a big accomplishment by CSK to get a quality batsman who can bat in that top order for so cheap.
yeah, absolutely. We saw it yesterday as well with a super over
Hmm.
with Josh Hazelwood nailing the Yorkers outside off,
Exactly.
winning the game for them. So yeah,
Yeah.
goodbye.
Yeah. Perfect. Alrighty. So that's been all from us today on the quick rundown of what was the end of the IPL Mega Auction 2022. Do join us in the next couple of days where we will give you a further in-depth analysis of what went down, and what the upcoming season is gonna look like. Do you have a couple of words for us, Prasuk, before we go?
I just want to request all the listeners and viewers to let us know who their favorite teams are and which players are they looking forward to watching in this year's Tata IPL. With the mega auction, it's going to be, I think we're going to have new fans and new followings. So it's very interesting to find out how people have made up their minds so far. So yeah, do leave us the comments and looking forward to your company next time.
Definitely. Alrighty. We will see you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.